this is the video we're looking at here. Building my best dugout ever, alone into wild forest, bushcraft moss pillow, badger came. Okay, let's get into this thing and see what we're looking at. Alright, first few seconds are just recapping everything you're going to see in the video, which is a good thing these days when you can autoplay without having to click on a video. Alright, nice and slow, relaxing video so far. I've used the shovels, you know, the ones that got like a pick head on it as well, so you can choose the spade or the pick head, and they suck. Like, they really do. Like, if you're trying to dig into the ground with it and you're using the spade bit, you end up slamming your hand into that pick part that's sort of folded against it, and yeah, you take the skin off, and they're just a nightmare to work with. But this spade here looks pretty good because it doesn't have that pick head on it. So I dare say it'd be a lot more enjoyable to use than the one I've used in the past. And I like the end of that spade too, like that, the end of the handle. I've got one of those special forces, Russian special forces shovels. That got the sides of it sharpened up so you can use it as an axe. Doesn't really work because it's got a curved blade to it, so as you're trying to cut things it sort of glances off. But the end of it was flat and I had to sort of file it round because you get blisters trying to hold the head of it, the end of that handle. Alright, a lot of smooth rock. So the rocks and the sand are telling me, even though this is right up in a hill, the rocks and the sand are telling me this was an old ancient riverbed or creek bed, and all that rock is water worn from tumbling down that stream. Now over the millenniums it's all eroded away and you've got these mountains there, but that's where you've got these round rocks and sand high up on a mountain like this. So that's pretty cool in itself, that you think you're digging in an ancient riverbed on a mountainside. Bit of work right there. Man. Alright. That's a huge amount of work. I don't know how many days it took him to dig it out, but I don't think he dug it out in like an hour. It's interesting how he's like really slow and methodical in all his movements, like just calm, relaxed. Me, if I've been working all day digging out a hole and I go to get my water bottle out, it's like, look out, I'm coming through. I'm getting that thing out of the bag as quick as I can because I'm thirsty as hell. And I definitely don't take my time to get food together. It's just like, get it down my neck as fast as I can, and yeah. But I suppose it's all part of the show, right? That calm state of mind. Yeah, see, I don't use the ferro rod that way. I'll hold the knife and actually pull the ferro rod away, so there's no chance I'm going to strike the knife into the tinder bundle you got there. So you just hold it rigid against your leg or the ground or something, and you're stripping away like you're starting a chainsaw. That's the way I do it. Each to their own, but man, if he got all that work done in one day, I'm impressed, because that was a lot of work. Plus filming, it's going to take at least 3 times as long when you're filming because you're moving cameras, changing batteries and things. But hope that's not all he's eating, because I'd devour that in like 2 seconds. Digging that hole, the amount of energy you've expended in that day, like that little bit of meat would be just like gone in an instant. Funny story, mate and I, we went camping on a river in Newfoundland and over in the east coast of Canada. It was a salmon river we were there fishing, and camped for a couple of days beside the river, but we didn't have a torch, like a flashlight. And we were cooking these moose steaks by a fire just like that, but we were putting them on rocks. And we might have had a drink or two, but we couldn't see the steak to see if it was cooked or not. And the only way to tell was to actually bite into it. And then the first time I bit into it, it was cold and bloody in the middle. We threw it back on the fire and on the rocks for another, we thought it was like another hour, but it must have only been like another 15 minutes. And yeah, tried it again, and it was warm inside, but that was about it. But we were so hungry by that stage, we just devoured it anyway. So had blood running down our faces like cannibals, and yeah, it's just the things you do when you're out in the bush and you don't have a flashlight to see if your food's cooked or not. Yeah, that's a massive hole to dig in one day with that little spade. He likes doing the big reveal of the saw. I get doing it one time, but gotta love the old Silkies. I'm still waiting on Silky to send me a Katana Boy. I know, I've always wanted a Katana Boy 500, but lately I've started thinking, well, maybe a Katana Boy 600 would be better. For all my cutting, like I'll cut timber that size, but I'll do hardwood that thickness. I use a Silky Gomboy 240, so the blade's only like that long on it, and I'll cut stuff like that out of hardwood, not softwood. But yeah, definitely a longer blade would be handy. And as I've said on my other channel a number of times, I keep calling out to Silky to send me a Katana Boy that I can use and showcase on the channel, but as yet hasn't happened. And yeah, I don't have the money to go out and buy one, so that's the worst, when you're digging out a shoulder and you get the depth you want, and you go, okay, I'm gonna dig holes, put my posts in now, and you dig like that far down, you hit solid rock, and then you've got to like spend days digging through this solid rock to get it deep enough to get your posts in. And yeah, the other thing you can do with your posts when you're putting them in the ground, especially if it's a wet climate or you've got termites around, is you scorch the bottom of the post, and it hardens the timber so that insects don't like chewing on burnt timber. They'll go to, if there's readily available wood around that isn't burnt, they'll feed on that before they'll feed on a piece that's been scorched. So it will keep termites away to some extent. And also by hardening up the timber, when you scorch it, it helps prevent it rotting as quickly. So yeah, I've dug up burnt stumps, like fully scorched stumps from fires long before my parents had the property, and dug it up and it's still hard, isn't it? It's not rotted at all, and that's just because it's been scorched. So definitely, if you want to keep your timber in the ground longer without it rotting, then yeah, scorching it is the way to go for sure. Doing what he's doing here is preventing that wall from caving in when it gets moist from, like, you're still going to have water coming into your shelter. You can't prevent that unless you put some sort of man-made plastic there. So it's still going to happen. The best you can do is ensure you've got a drain at one end so the water can get out once it gets in there, and put a drain around on the inside of your shelter, around the walls, so you don't have water running over the floor. It just travels around the outside of the shelter, like on the inside. But yeah, and by doing what he's doing with the walls, you're basically making a log cabin underground. But what the logs do is, yeah, prevent that sand that he's got there, and where I was it was clay. It stops that getting wet and then falling into the shelter. So yeah, I don't see anything to suggest that he's faked anything in this video, which is it's refreshing when you watch so many fake videos online. It's refreshing to see one that doesn't appear to be faked at all. See, with all these videos, I'd like to see the analytics to see if they have big drops in the viewers, like people skipping through like sections like this where it gets, they're not boring, but it slows down and quite a lot. Guess I'll never know. Man, I got no moss in my area. That sucks. Got like tiny little pieces like that when I was young I used to put on my bonsais, and that was about it. I got contacted probably a year and a half ago by a production house based in Europe, and they were putting together a book on survival skills and like long-term survival, and they wanted me to build a shelter and document it, all the photos and videos and stuff like that, because they were going to have an online portal for people who bought the book could then go on and watch videos. and they asked me to build a like a log cabin and have all moss and everything in it. And I had to say, have you seen my videos? Have you seen where I'm situated? I don't have any moss. I've got like, you know, I'd probably, if I collected all the moss in the area, I'd have a clump about that round, about that thick. So, and I definitely don't have enough straight timber to make a log cabin. And so I said, yeah, no, I can't do it. And I gave them another proposal of a shelter, but they, you know, people have this idea of a survival shelter being, or a long-term survival shelter being a log cabin out in the wilderness. And so that's what they wanted to pitch to people in their book. So they weren't interested in what is the reality in a lot of other situations, that you don't have access to build a log cabin, or you don't have the physical strength or calories to go out and build a log cabin. So, but anyway, yeah, it's one of those things. Would have been good for the money, but yeah. I like this real slow. When I say I like it, I don't know, it's just a bit too slow for my liking. It's like really staged, like, oh, look at what I've got here, you know, so like just getting it out and, yeah. I wonder if he's going to put any plastic over the top. The fact that he hasn't used any man-made materials in the construction, it's just all timber and pegs and moss and rocks and things. It makes me think he's not going to use any sort of plastic over the top. That's going to get water through it. Like if you had a solid amount of rain, because he's got a flat roof, like if you had a pitched roof like that with moss, then the water can sort of flow through it and off. But if you've got a flat roof, water's just going to get on it and soak into that moss and fill it up, and it's going to start dripping through in your shelter. Man, I wish I had all that had all that nice uniform round logs. Everything I've got's got big forks and branches and stuff in it, and it's really difficult to get any sort of length with straight timber. Don't know if you can hear that baby crying in the background. It's not on the video, it's my son. He's just woken up. He's 6 months old and teething at the moment, so he's not the happiest of campers. So he's out there screaming up a storm, but I don't know if it'll pick it up on this mic, but I can definitely hear him out there with his mum having a bit of a morning cry. It's only 5 o'clock in the morning here. I'm just filming this before I go off to work, because yeah, YouTube doesn't pay the bills, unfortunately. I dare say he would have measured this out, because it would really suck if you went to all the effort of making this shelter, like you dug it out and you built all the walls, did everything to it, made your bed, and then you got in there to lay down and you were like, you know, a foot too short. You had to sleep on an angle or curled up in a ball because the shoulder wasn't long enough. That would suck. Definitely looks decent. Yeah, I like it. I don't know if did we see him put a fireplace in there? Did I miss that? Did he incorporate a fireplace into the shelter, or choose not to? You don't see him taking any bark off any of the wood that he's got there. Where I am, like, I've got different types of gums and box, and it's all got bark on it, and yeah, the bark can be a real pain to get off. Like, it takes twice as long to get the bark off as it does to actually go out and collect the wood, maybe longer. And yeah, that sort of slows things down. But this guy, he's just, everything he's collecting off the ground has already shed its bark, so that's good for him. Not so much for me. Alright, so he's planting these massive big sods on top. I guess, yeah, the clay and stuff. I don't know. I think it's still, if you had a lot of rain, it'd still soak through all that. It'd take a long time, but if you had a good week of rain, yeah, I don't know. Be interesting to see if he went back there during rain, like extended periods of rain, to see what it was like. I'm not going to be showing you the full video of his in this reaction video. It's not fair for the creator for me just to play his whole video all the way through. Plus it's long, it's like, I don't know, 40 minutes, over 40 minutes long. So I'm just going to show sort of highlights of it, and I will put a link to his video in the video description of this video. And I'd suggest you click on that, check it out. If you haven't already seen this video of his, go in the video description and click on the link and check his video out in full. So that's all I'm saying. I remember doing a video, and it took me 5.5 months to build this earth shelter. And I got a comment from someone that said, "Oh, you don't ever drink," just because I didn't show me drinking. I was drinking up to 6 litres of water a day when I was making it, because it was like summertime and it was so hot. But I didn't film any of that. I didn't think people would want to see me drinking water, so I didn't film any of it. And then I get this comment saying, "Man, you didn't drink anything in the whole build." I'm like, well, yeah. So, all right, that's it. I didn't see that badger. Where was that badger? Man, all right, I'm going to flick through it and I'll find that badger. I'll put that little bugger on the screen so you can see this badger that comes to visit. It must have been a very short little cameo visit of the badger. Well, yeah, decent shelter. Really liked it. Showed a lot of different techniques in the construction of it. That location was just phenomenal. So, yeah, great job. All right, so next time I'm going to go have a coffee, and then I'm heading off to work. So thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one.